Let's face it, there's pretty much only one reason to spin anything on a page, and that's to attract attention. And there's nothing wrong with that when used judiciously. In this movie, we'll take a banner ad and apply the CSS transform rotate function, along with a little bit of JavaScript, to capture some eyeballs when the page first loads. Now I have open here advert.htm from the chapter 2 02_04 folder, and you can see it's a pretty standard static banner. That's fine for what it is, but let's bring it into the code editor and see how to breathe a little life into it. Now, rather than rotate the logo like the hands of a clock, I'd like the logo to spin like a weather vane, and that will require the rotate Y function, which is a 3D transform. To set that up, I'll need to establish a perspective in the containing element, which happens to be, in this case, outer wrapper. So we'll go to our outer wrapper rule here and add in WebKit-perspective and set that to a medium value, 500 pixels. Now I'm going to copy and paste my WebKit perspective line, as we've done before. I'll do it 3 times here. One for Mozilla, one for Opera, and one for the CSS3 property perspective. All right, let's clean up that extra empty space there. And now let's define the transition in the logo rule. I'm going to use the keyword all to cover any properties I need to control. So WebKit-transition all, and let's make this last a little bit. Let's bring it up to 2 seconds, and we'll use the ease timing function. Okay, so again, we'll do a little copying and pasting, save some time, replace WebKit with MOZ for Mozilla, and then we'll take care of Opera, and we'll get rid of WebKit altogether, so we just have transition. Now, we're going to need to add the transform to a hover state. Put in the basic selector logo and add hover. And let's set up our transforms. WebKit-transform. And as I said, we want this to rotate around the Y-axis. So I'll go rotate Y, uppercase, and let's have it go all the way around, so 360 degrees, or 360 DEG. Add in a semicolon, and we'll copy that line, paste it 3 times, and do our little copy-paste dance. Okay, let's save it, and we'll test the page. I'll go over to Safari now, reload the page, and when I hover over the logo, it should spin. Okay, so there's my spinning logo, and when I hover out, it reverses, just as you might expect. Well, that rotation's cool, but how can I be sure someone is going to hover over the logo? It'd be much better to have it rotate automatically when the page loads. And for that, because CSS is a presentation layer and not a functionality layer, we need to add a little JavaScript. So let's head back to the code editor. And above my style tag, I'm going to add in a script tag to link to the most current version of jQuery. So it's script, and the type is text JavaScript. Now the source for this, I happen to know, is http:// of course, and then code.jquery.com/jquery.min for minified.js. Now let me close off the script tag, and that's all good to go. And now let's add in our jQuery function. So for that, we need another script tag with a type of text JavaScript, and we'll make a little room. And now we'll use the jQuery ready function before it executes whatever's inside. So in jQuery, you start off with a $, and then here we'll put in document in parentheses, followed by a period and the function ready. And then I move my cursor past that opening and closing paren and enter in a curly brace. I'll hit return once just to make a little space there. And let me go ahead and close off this function here with a semicolon before I add in the code that's to be executed, which in this case is going to be adding a class to the selector of ID logo or hashtag logo. So in jQuery, we start off with a $, and then an opening and closing parens, and within that, quotes. And now we add in our selector, which in this case is # logo. And then after the parens, we put a dot and add in the function add class. And again, open and closing paren and quotes. And the class we're going to add is called animated. All right, let's put a semicolon after that. Now let's go down to the hover rule. And the first thing I'm going to do is just copy it because we're going to be able to reuse it. I don't want to lose this in case I want to go back to it. So I'll copy it. And now I'm going to comment it out by putting a /* above it and a */ below it, creating a new line and then pasting it back in. And we're going to change the selector from # logo hover to .animated. And while we're at it, why don't we beef it up a bit? Instead of just doing one rotation, let's do two, and let's have it spin the opposite way. So to do all that, all I need to do is to change the 360 degrees to a -720. All right, we'll do that 3 times more. And since we beefed that up, why don't we beef up the transition as well? Since we have 2 rotations, let's make it go 3 seconds instead of 2. And let's go for a custom timing function. Instead of ease, let's use cubic Bezier to create one that starts out really slow and then just takes off. So we replace ease with cubic -Bezier and open and closing paren. And in that, 4 number values, 0.950, comma, 0.050, comma. That's the first of 2 XY coordinate pairs. So let's enter the second ones now. 0.795, comma, and finally 0.035. Okay, let's copy our changes and then replace the existing code with the new super-duper code. Finally, let's add a brief delay so that the animation doesn't start immediately after the page load, but waits just 1 second. So in the logo rule, we'll add in our transition delay property, starting with the WebKit version. And there it is in the code hints. So let's take advantage of that. And we'll make this 1s for 1 second. And now let's do our other versions by copying and pasting that in several times, and then changing the prefixes where we need to. All right, great. Let's save the page, head back over to Safari. I'm going to refresh the page, and let's see what happens. Excellent. Looks pretty sweet. We've got a nice delay there, and then the logo just goes crazy, but in a very precise, controlled way. CSS transitions and transforms, like this 3D rotation, work really well for bringing simple, eye-catching animations to banners and other ads.